Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today on UFO Entity Enigma, we will be exploring mysteries of presences on the moon. And I have with me our intrepid investigators, the torchbearers for a new tomorrow, a strange tomorrow, a weird but a tomorrow nonetheless. I have Tim Swartz. Greetings, Tim.
Hi, Hercules. Thanks for having me tonight.
Thanks for being here. I have Paul Dale Roberts.
Yes, I'm right here, Hercules.
Awesome. Welcome, my friend. I have Sir Dr. T. Allen Greenfield. Greetings, Allen.
Present.
Oh, we have the multidimensional Allen here as well.
Mommy.
We have Michael Kopf in between two mountains and lightning and volcanoes and things.
Present.
We have Apulia. Greetings, Apulia.
Carole, where are you?
I'm here.
There she goes.
Awesome. We have Setna. Greetings, Setna.
Hello, everybody. I'm really here.
Good. We have Ammon. Greetings, Ammon.
Hi there, everybody. Glad to be with you all.
And we have Soo McClure.
Uh-oh. My audio went
Greetings, Sue. How are you?
My audio went out.
Oh, okay.
We can hear you.
Well, you got perfect timing, Sue, because you started talking just as Hercules introduced you.
Hello, are you there, Sue?
Part of the magic of the show, I guess.
It's not even Mercury retrograde for a couple of weeks. Don't say anything.
Yeah, let's not jinx it.
I got 7 planets in Virgo. I don't want to hear those words.
We have Sue. Sue, are you here? Can you hear us? I guess Sue will rejoin us when she can. Today I'm going to extend the show. There's a lot of people. You there, Sue?
Sounded like something said tomato.
That's what I thought.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Let's not.
I'm back. Sorry. Hi.
Hi. Okay. Sue is
I'm
here.
here. I'm here.
Yes, you are.
Now, have you heard of Lucian of Samsata? No? Okay. He wrote a book about outer space travel in ancient Rome in like the 2nd century of our common era. And he described in this book a war between the denizens of the moon and the denizens of the sun. And beings were very alien. They were very different than what we look like. Some of them had theriomorphic heads. Some of them were weirdly asexual with changing sexes at some midpoint of the life, and their tails that look like cabbages. It was a lot of really alien stuff. So it's called ancient science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been doing that ever since. And it Brian lists a bunch of movies of all the different life that we imagine on the moon. So what I'd like to do today is explore what you've heard about the moon and what you happen to think about what you've heard and what you personally believe. And we're going to start where we do all our inquiries with Tim Swartz, who will provide us the structure upon which we can build with our words.
Oh, well, thank you, Hercules. And tonight's topic has a lot of significance for me because I am a moon child.
All right.
That's right. So the moon has always held a fascination with me, as with a lot of other people throughout the centuries. And I don't think that a lot of people realize how important the moon is to all of us and to all of our ancestors from the very beginning of time. The moon has played an important role on this planet and on its inhabitants. Now, one of my favorite topics concerning the moon is that our current moon is not the original moon. That at one time there were other moons that, for whatever reasons, disappeared to be replaced by the current one. Now, pretty certain that those are just fables, because our being, our makeup, our evolution has been so dependent on the moon that it has been here, I think, long before people were capable of developing such folk tales. But it's an interesting scenario that our current moon is not the original one to this planet, but it's it plays such an important role, not only because it's always like the sun. It's always been so predominant in our skies that, naturally, so much of our mythologies have centered around the moon and its mysteries, its cycles, and our own cycles, how they have synced up with the moon, the tides and other things. One of the things that I was just looking up before I started the show was in 1970, two Soviet scientists suggested that the moon not only is hollow, but that at one time was a spaceship that possibly brought us to the Earth from some other locations, Mars maybe. I've heard that one before, that, that Mars is actually the birthplace of humanity, and because of whatever happened there, they got the moon and loaded us all up into it and then took us to Earth. And it is kind of odd if you look at the way the moon rotates around the Earth and how it is positioned in such a beautiful orbit, such a perfect orbit. You think about a simple thing like an eclipse, a total eclipse, and how the moon exactly matches with the sun to cover it up. And, scientists come up with all kinds of wonderful explanations on why this happens. And is it a coincidence? Was it some kind of planning, in the vast past? Who knows? That's one of the wonderful things about the moon is all the mysteries that surround it. And, of course, one of the other things is how only one side faces the Earth continuously due to its orbit. And you have the far side, which actually is different from the side that faces the Earth. The compositions are slightly different. The thickness of the dust. The side that faces the Earth, there are a lot of what we called seas that are the result of past volcanic activity, and you don't see that on the far side of the moon. That's one of the mysteries, and as well, astronomers from the beginning, even before there were telescopes, people had observed mysterious flashes and lights and other unusual activity on the surface of the moon. Heck, there's even several books written. One of my favorite is Somebody Else is on the Moon, with just some really incredible pictures of what appears to be constructions on the moon, alien constructions, or maybe our own from a distant past. It's hard to say. It's one of those mysteries about our closest planetary neighbor that continues to fascinate us all. And despite the fact that we have sent not only robotic probes to the moon, we've actually landed people on the moon, it's still a mysterious place. And will probably remain so. I hate to put it this way, guys. It probably will remain so for the rest of our lives. But thinking back to the UFO mystery and how a lot of the early contactees, one of the first places that they gravitated towards was the moon, naturally, I think. And how the Friendly Space Brothers had established bases on the moon to keep an eye on us. And really, who can blame them? I mean, if you were going to be observing a civilization, what better place than the moon? Oh, I forgot to mention also, out of all the other moons in the solar system, Earth's moon is unique due to its size. The Earth Moon system could almost be a binary system if it wasn't for the fact that the moon rotates around the Earth rather than the two rotating each other. But if you were entering our solar system from someplace else and saw the Earth Moon system, you would probably assume at first it was a binary system. So now, how did Earth, a really a relatively small planet in the whole scheme of things in our solar system, manage to gain a satellite the size of the moon? Again, that's one of those mysteries that that we'll probably never figure out. At one time, it was thought that the moon was another planet in our solar system that just managed to get too close and get caught up in our orbit. But now the current theory is that the moon was actually birthed from the Earth itself. That at some time, billions of years ago, another planet about the size of Mars, maybe Mars, got too close, maybe even collided with the Earth, and caused chunks of it to be pulled apart and then coalesce into our moon. Because the structure of the moon, the rocks that were brought back by the Apollo astronauts, are remarkably similar to the rocks and minerals in the Earth's mantle. So there is a close relationship between the Earth and the Moon, but there's also a lot of some vast differences as well. And I should point out also that there is water on the Moon. They have found out that there are craters that remain perpetually in shadow that have water in them. Now, not the water that we're thinking of. It's ice. So the question is, where did that water come from? Did it come from Earth? Did the moon have its own water? Again, mystery. The moon is mysterious and will remain mysterious. And I'm going to leave it at that, Hercules, because I know there's a lot of other people here who are just chomping at the bit for their chance to speak about the moon. So thank you for allowing me to ramble on tonight.
Many people have questions out of what you said, and I know I do, but we'll come to those later. Thank you, Sir Tim of the Moon.
King Tim, King of the Moon.
King of the Moon. What are you Okay, next we're going to go to T. Allen Greenfield, who will take us to many occult and metaphysical places. Greetings, Allen.
Well, let me put it this way. Couple of anecdotes.
We're losing the sound, Allen. You're not coming through, Alan. We lost the sound.
Tell a couple of really good stories. One is of the Apollo 11 mission in what was it, 1969.
I think he took his headphones off so he can't hear us saying we can't hear him.
Oh,
Was
okay.
the launching of
Alan, we can't hear you.
the first landing.
So somebody write a sign and show it to them.
Now, can you hear me?
Now
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the problem is I can hear myself too, so I'm going to have to do a little gymnastics here. Okay, I'll look silly, but you can hear me. Okay, so I'm standing on the deck of a ship that is in the harbor of Nassau with my parents in July of 1968. And people are out on the deck looking to see if they can see the launch of Apollo 11. And we could. And a few days later, when we got back to Miami, which is where we were staying, I had the odd privilege of watching the first live images of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landing on the moon. And I'm sitting there with my father. My father was born in 1904. And that's within a year of the Wright brothers' first flight. So sitting there with him, I was moved to ask him what it was like to go from the Wright brothers to men on the moon. And his answer was very instructive. He said, well, it was a slow progression. In the 1930s, I thought that the future of aerial transportation was going to be the Zeppelin. And that, of course, turned out to be quite literally a bag of wind, especially after the Hindenburg disaster. So that was an interesting experience. And here we are, many, many years later. And for the first time in a very long time, people have again, Americans again, have circled the moon and are planning, I think maybe even next year, if all goes well, to put boots on the ground, not in Iran, but on the moon, a much more peaceful place. Now, about the phenomena that the disclosure movement was all been out of shape about a couple of days ago. That is that astronauts throughout the history of space exploration, that is within the Earth-Moon system, have reported strange lights in on the ground, which would be, on the moon's surface, and on the far side of the moon when that was being surveyed from orbit or from the Chinese probe, which purportedly landed there. And it brought to mind something that was claimed way back when the first orbital missions were being basically testing whether people could navigate in space. And one of the very first astronaut reports said that, it may have been John Glenn, I'm not sure. In those days, I knew the names of every single astronaut. I've been following the space program literally from the very first Sputnik 1 and Explorer 1. The astronauts reported that there appeared to be fireflies following the spacecraft around in orbit. And at the time, George Adamski said, "You see, I always said that when I looked out of the porthole of the ships bound for Venus, I saw fireflies." And as if that were, to validate his particular approach. The thing is, it turned out to be, as one of the astronauts expressed it, one of the most beautiful things that you see in orbit around the Earth is a urine dump at sunset. It instantly crystallizes and by the sunlight becomes essentially looks like fireflies. So I don't know whether that's what Adamski was seeing on his way to Venus or whether that was an entirely different phenomenon. But those are the anecdotes. What do I think? I don't think the moon is inhabited and ever has been. I don't think it's particularly an observation station, although I am concerned about the military aspects of whoever has a base on the moon basically has an ideal location for monitoring things on Earth without having some kind of immediate response possible. Even in orbit today, a missile can knock out an orbital spacecraft or rocket, or we're not very far from actually being able to knock out ICBMs while they are briefly in space before they do their dirty work. So the moon is within present technology and in the foreseeable future, it's a multi-day trip, plenty of time to, report something or launch something and get out of the way for any response from the Earth. So I think that that's a strategic concern that doesn't get talked about very much because I think we are sort of addicted to the notion of the peaceful uses of space, although I think that's probably naive from the standpoint of the human race. I don't mean to sound dark, because I think space has enormous potential for us. But I don't think the moon is alive in the sense of having alien beings, that periodically land there or that it's hollow or any of those things. In fact, the hollow thing would be really a good trick because pretty well we know from radar bouncing off the moon and so forth, the same way we know where to, I guess, dig for oil or, whatever the current fuel is, where to dig. We also know a lot about the internal structure of the moon. As for water on the moon, why not? There's water throughout the universe. It's one of the things that the Hubble and the JWST have confirmed surprisingly how much water ice exists all over the universe. Not all in one place and not sort of an ocean in space, but lots and lots and lots of water ice. And of course, that is true here, thankfully. I think the greatest mystery where the moon is concerned has been alluded to by Tim Swartz, which is that part of the argument for the fine-tuning of the universe to support life on Earth is without the perfection of the particular size and orbit of the moon around the Earth, which is not true anywhere else in at least our solar system, we would not be here to discuss it because the moon influences the tides. It probably influences, this is still controversial, but I think that it's true. It influences people's moods, just as solar storms probably do. And it even influences directly, I'm pretty sure, the female cycle of humans, in that a 28-day complete cycle for the moon and a 28-day cycle for female ovulation is uh, the same, not coincidentally, in my opinion and in the opinion of many. Of course, that might be a fair to middling argument for the influence of astrology. I don't think astrology works, but I don't think it works in that way. I think it works the same way as the I Ching and the tarot, and freezing the moment rather than the actual influence of planets. But certainly the moon directly influences everything that happens on Earth. And the great mystery is, why is this so fine-tuned? Of course, there's much more to the fine-tuning argument. That is, the number of steps necessary to go from the Big Bang to us is literally astronomical in its unlikeliness, the number of steps that have to take place. And the cycle of the moon in relation to the Earth is one of those particularly important fine-tuning things. The skeptics will say, well, of course, it's a coincidence because we wouldn't be here to ponder it if it wasn't for that. But that's a fairly lame explanation. In fact, the number of steps is so broad that I would call it, dare I say, miraculous. End of rant.
Thank you very much for the rant, for expanding upon and deepening the mystery produced by Tim, King of the Moon. Onwards now to Setna. If I were on the panel today, I would tell you about Thea, and Selene, and Artemis, and Diana, and all the other deities of the moon. Most all of them in Greek female. But we go now to ancient Egypt with Setna Kamwes of Kemet.
Okay, so everybody walk like an Egyptian. Okay, here I am. This is a very tiny representation of Kensu. He is, or Kansu. He is a solar and lunar deity. He is a falcon. Many of the Egyptian gods and goddesses have, or gods, I should say, have falcon heads. He is the man, or the falcon-headed man, on the moon. I also have another representation of him, which is also not only him, but also Horus, which is here. This one, I don't know if you can see it because it kind of disappears. This is made of hematite, which they say is a element that may have fell down from the moon. It is almost a mercury-like substance. In Egypt, the lady in the moon was a man. So they decided. However, there are also Egyptian goddesses like Isis and others that are also considered moon deities. So we have contradictions going on there. I'm dressed in very much solar deities today. I have the Eye of Horus on. I have two Horuses on my body. But Horus is also a solar lunar deity. He comes in the middle of the day, and he also has he's also the darker side of the moon, and he comes around, as it were, to bring that energy up for us so that we can have, frankly, have children. That part of Horus is the masculine energy. There's also the god Ammon, as Ammon would know, who is called Min, who isn't, erect, shall we say. They use the word ichthyophalic. That sounds filthy. Erect god of Ammon, and he is a solar deity. But Horus is the same energy in the moon at night. When you have a solar eclipse, they say that Horus has mated with his girlfriend, his goddess, Hathor, who is the sun. So you've got the sun and the moon coming. So what I'm saying is that in most of the dynasties in Egypt, you have solar gods and lunar gods, and that they're mixed, they're intermarried with each other. So mostly what I say is that Khonsu, this little guy here, who's going to disappear on me any second now, Khonsu, oh, there he goes. Khonsu is a moon deity. He comes when the eclipse happens. They say that he has gone into another dimension, and that's interesting. I know, in my mind, and many others that are what they call ancient alien theorists, which I'm very much subscribing to. These beings are all in gold, and you'll see this statue is more or less mostly gold. Um, they believe that those beings came from starry areas. I always mention that Isis is told to us to come from the area around the star Sirius, and it's called Sotis, is the planet she's allegedly from. And there's also Osiris, her brother, husband, comes from the area around Orion's belt. So there are planets in that area where he descends from. Um, and that also makes him Osiris, a solar deity to begin with. But then later, as he descends into the afterlife, eternity, he is a darker cloud. He becomes a lunar deity as well. So there are many different energies in my particular worship, which have crossed over from sun to moon, from moon to sun. It's a little confusing, but they think that the moon is the moon's light is a reflection of the sun. So, which pretty much is what we proved scientifically, that the moon only shines because the sun is hitting it. So that's why they say that the god of the sun is also the god of the moon. Did I confuse everybody?
Nope, I got it.
I mean, it is kind of a crazy mishmash of things, and it's sort of a contradiction. But then the Egyptians were all into contradiction. They kneaded grapes with their hands and dough with their feet. I wouldn't eat the muffins myself, but that's that. I'm sorry. I don't want foot odor in my bread. I don't even think foot odor in your grapes is any better, but they did everything in those ways backwards. Also, the Nile, as you know, flows up. Everybody, all the other rivers in the whole world flow from north to south, not the Nile. The Nile flows from the south up to the north. I guess it's because of the tilts of the earth, I'm thinking. I'm looking at Paul because he would probably know. And it starts in Lake Victoria. They say that's the source of the Nile, and it goes all the way up to the Mediterranean. So even the Nile is backwards.
Incredibly awesome. Thank you for bringing the mystery into the mythic realm and into the wisdom of antiquity. And from here, we're going to go to Paul Dale Roberts. Greetings, Paul.
Hey, greetings there, Hercules. Yeah, this moon topic is very interesting. And I'm going to take everybody back to, when was it? 1978? Yeah, 1978. My late uncle, Manuel Ayala, was a CHP, California Highway Patrol, CHIPS. And we were playing pool. And my uncle was saying that he was dreading tomorrow. And I said, why? He goes, well, it's a full moon. And I go, well, what's the big deal about a full moon? I don't understand. I was a young guy, so I really didn't understand. And he told me that strange things happen on a full moon. And he said that all the lunatics come out. And he says that on a full moon, there's more domestic violence, husband and wife. There's murders, there's robbery, rape, bar fights, lots of bar fights, reckless driving, drunk driving, excessive drug use, and suicides. And we're talking about the Bay Area. So he was dealing a lot of stuff in San Francisco, Vallejo, people wanting to commit suicide by being on a bridge. And he just, he did not like full moons. And this is coming from a CHP, a California Highway Patrol, saying that things happen more during the full moon. And that's when I first learned. The moon itself is just really fascinating because, and Hercules will like this because ancient Greek writers talked about Earth when it didn't have a moon. It was a moonless Earth. And not only the ancient Greek writers were talking about this, but you also too had the Zulu nation down in South Africa talking about a moonless Earth. So at some point in time, we didn't have a moon, and then something brought this moon into our orbit. So that's kind of interesting. And another thing that really fascinates me about the moon is that the moon rings like a bell. It has the long echoing seismic vibrations that last for an hour. So is the moon hollow? Is it a place that extraterrestrials maybe have a moon base and are watching the Earth? Perhaps those extraterrestrials are the watchers. Who knows? But anyway, the moon is a very fascinating, and just like what Tim was talking about too, how it's just the size of it, it can actually block out the sun. So it's so many interesting things, and I guess I could go on and on, but we got a lot of people, so I'm going to stop talking.
Well, thank you for being Mr. I've worked in hospitals and departments of psychiatry or within emergency psychiatry rooms, and that was a belief that was held by many of the health professionals. And also we had extensive dealings with police who were bringing people to the hospital, and they also had the same belief. So I haven't read any real studies that correlated, but in terms of it being something that people who were really in a position to know, that was a very common belief about things.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. My uncle was saying that the hospitals and emergency rooms are always busy during a full moon, and he was saying that most people lose 20 minutes of sleep during a full moon.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Paul, very much.
Thank you.
Now we pass the baton to Ammon. Greetings, Ammon.
Oh, hi there, everybody. Hey, fascinating topic. And I want to say I'm just so honored to be with you guys tonight. You distinguished paranormal investigators and astronomers and astrologers. The moon is in Gemini tonight. The moon is in the constellation of Gemini. So Hercules, I think you picked the perfect topic because Gemini is usually associated with like a mental approach to life as opposed to an emotional, like with the water signs. I have moon in Gemini, so I think I'm pretty plugged into this wonderful discussion. And I just wanted to show you something because I've gotten in the mood, of the cosmos and of course our solar system. So I wanted to share something that Diane and I have had for a long time, and it's one of our most prized possessions. I'm going to show it to you guys. It's a meteorite, and this is a meteorite that was found in the Winslow crater in Arizona. And it's called, it was in the Nininger Museum, and it was called Wings of Victory. And I don't know if you can see it. It kind of looks like it has wings.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is really one of our prized possessions, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you guys. I just, I feel strongly about the moon and its influence on the earth. Every day I try to wear clothes that reflect the color of the astrological sign that the moon is in that day. And there, of course, are colors associated with each, astrological sign. So I try to wear the clothes that reflect that particular sign. So that's kind of like a daily practice that I do. But I just wanted to offer a Urantia book perspective, as I usually do, as I like to do. My wife and I we are Theosophists, Rosicrucians. We've studied various spiritual traditions and religions throughout the years. But, since 2011, we've been really involved in the Urantia book community and delving deeply into the Urantia book. And of course, the Urantia book kind of breaks down the universe, the cosmos, into levels, kind of like Theosophy does. But the Urantia book says that there are lots of planets, and these planets are grouped into local systems of like 1,000 inhabitable planets. These local systems are grouped into local universes, which can be up to 10 million inhabitable planets. And the Urantia book says that there are basically two types. I mean, it gets a little bit more complex, but there are basically two types of beings that are dealing with these planets, these solar systems, galaxies, local systems, so on and so forth. You have the celestials, who are the creators, the administrators, and the upholders of these creations, these spheres or levels of evolution. And you also have the creatures that are inhabited on those spheres, in those systems, so on and so forth. And I tend to think that they work together, right? So you guys were talking about, the importance of the moon and how the moon really affects the Earth. It's entirely possible that the moon is part of the celestial scheme for our Earth and for our solar system. It seems like you guys have already mentioned that it's perfectly set up to make sure that the Earth is functioning properly and everything works like clockwork in the solar system. Now, I just wanted to tell you guys something really interesting that happened to my wife and I in October of 2024. And this would have been about, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This would have been about like 4 or 5 months before Diane passed away. She was visited by an angel, and the angel's name was Azure Blue. And by the way, my book that just came out, and Hercules, you have a copy of it?
Yes.
The book that I just finished writing and published is called The League of Azure Blue Angels. And it's kind of an ode to these new angels that came into our lives around October of 2024. Well, this Azure Blue, he said that he was on the sun when he was visiting Diane. And she asked, well, what do you do? What is your role? And he said, well, as far as our solar system is concerned, he is a watcher. He's a watcher who is under the direction of Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, also known in the Ascended Masters tradition as Sanat Kumara. In the Urantia book, he's Gabriel, the bright and morning star. Of course, Venus is the name for the bright and morning star that we know. But this Azure Blue was working under Gabriel, and that he was a watcher, that he watches people or these creatures, these evolving creatures, throughout the solar system, right? So he was a watcher from the sun. Well, we met his consort, Azure Lena, who also works with different angel groups. And then there were 2 other angels that came a little bit later, like in December. And one of these angels was named Kaiser, actually, King Kaiser, and his consort was Lila, was her name that she gave us. And what they are concerned with is they work in our solar system, but they're concerned with making sure that the solar system mechanism of spheres and forces and planets and creatures is all working perfectly like clockwork. So here, there were a set of angels that were introduced to us that were watchers, that were reporting to Gabriel and working under Gabriel on our behalf. And then you have these other two angels that were concerned with the music of the spheres, keeping the music of the spheres, properly tuned and working perfectly. So as regards the moon, I tend to think that the moon is part of this celestial scheme, and it is my belief that there are celestial entities that are either on the moon or working through the moon's influence to help the Earth, to watch us. I like the watcher. I like the watcher idea, the observers. But I also like that there are celestial overseers, administrators that are making sure through the moon that the Earth is in balance, its people are imbalanced, and the solar system is in balance. So that's kind of my take. And as far as like a physical civilization, I believe there could have been a physical civilization on the moon. There might even be one now. But I think there are definitely celestials that are working on the moon and through the moon on our behalf. So that's my take on it, guys. Thank you, Hercules, so much for the time.
And we're going to do a show devoted to your book, so we'll learn a lot more about it during the show.
Thank you so much.
Now I pass the scepter to Julia.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, well, I'm not as eloquent as Tim, and I'm not as interesting as Allen Greenfield, and I have different views from the other speakers. I know that the moon is full of myth and magic. I'm not that interested in that. I come from, I've had a sighting, and for years I've found some people who also saw the same ship at the same time in the same place, Brooklyn. So I'm interested in it more in a physical sense, even though Jacques Vallée seems to think they're visitors from the future, the past. I don't put down anybody who's had experiences. I also may have had experiences. I had an unusual dream that went along with it. But basically, I like to think I like conspiracy theories. That's where I came from. That's how I met Tim and some of the other people that even John Mack and the famous ones. I got to meet them through Tim. The just 2 weeks ago, I heard Steve Bassett at a panel discussion in New York City, and in it he said that the government was going to release disclosure documents within a week or 2 weeks, and sure enough, that's what happened. He's in the know. So I've always looked at it from that point of view. I've also looked at the Federal Register. I don't know if I work in the law. So after every president leaves office, he leaves a bunch of presidential declarations. And one day I was looking at it, and after Clinton left office, and he's declassifying Groom Lake. That's Area 51. And my thought was, oh my God, it's real. It's a real place. And there's a few other conspiracy theories that I've heard, and a lot of them are not true, but some are. So I'm very interested in what I have to hear about this. Now, the moon, I'm surprised no one has mentioned Ingo Swann yet, his book Penetration. If you don't know who he is, I'm sure most people here do know who he is. He was a remote viewer with quite a good record of accuracy. And in Penetration, he claimed that he had seen the moon, had gone to the moon in one of his remote viewing sessions, and that there were people there and that there were slaves there. And when they became aware of him, he immediately left. He didn't want to end up somewhere in the moon as a slave or whatever. Very interesting book if anyone's interested in looking at it. So I'm very interested in seeing how many conspiracy theories that are floating around about the moon and space travel are going to come true. Now, as Tim said, it's probably not going to be in our lifetime, but little by little, things are happening, and we're getting to learn more and more about them. I love the myth and magic of the moon. It's beautiful, silvery disk, but I'm also interested in the reality of what's going on. I'm interested in what Allen Greenfield said about how it could be used for military reasons. In addition to that, one of the stories is that they don't want us on the moon. So is there somebody on the moon? Today I was listening to this paranormal research, unexplained CIA files, and in it they mentioned the Apollo 10 mission where they saw what they called moon pigeons. I think that not fireflies, but moon pigeons, and they thought it was another ship. And this was during the Apollo 10 mission. And then they went into, a scientist explained that there were reasons for this. They don't really know what those are. And there were satellite crashes. They don't really know, is someone trying to keep us from landing there? There were scientific reasons of what they could be. There's a lot of could be's out there. So that's the point of view I'm looking forward. I want to see what's real, what's coming up. Too many things that are floating around that seem to be phony or silly or whatever, they're coming true. There's my take on it.
Thank you very much. And what you're saying about different information about the moon that came out that seemed crazy, but it turned out to be true. Denarius, and I have a high opinion of the Denarius folks. I like them personally. I've been interacting with them for over half a century to one degree or another. They said that there was water on the moon long before we knew that there is indeed actually water on the moon, and they didn't care if people laughed at them. They had their information that said that there was water on the moon. It stuck with it, and now they've been vindicated.
Well, they're perceptions. People have perceptions, like Ingo Swann. There is remote viewing. Perhaps they have psychic experiences that can connect you with whatever's on the moon. So who knows? I'm open to it all.
Thank you very much. And now we move onward to Michael Kopf.
Thank you. And I have to say, I'm loving this topic because in the last book I wrote, I did a whole bunch of research into the moon and what, is the moon. And what I found interesting was, and I'm going to sidestep for a second, is like Paul was talking about, and a lot of us mentioned on the night of the full moon, a lot of lunatics come out. But what I find interesting about that word is the first part of that word is luna, which is moon. And so it's in our vocabulary. It's in our everyday nomenclature. So the moon definitely has a much bigger impact on us than what we realize. And one thing that I found interesting when I was reviewing the moon, because I thought it was only visible at night, it was the night star, and also was a part of the Earth that broke off, to learning that's not true anymore. And I can see the moon in the daytime now, and that confuses me at times. But as Paul mentioned, the ancient Greeks And the Zulu tribes talk about pre-Earth civilizations, or pre-lunar, sorry, pre-moon. Well, I found out it's also Colombia, and a lot of the pre-Columbian era tribes, the indigenous tribes in the Americas, Mesopotamia and India, all of these have cultures that pre-existed the moon. How is that possible that the moon broke from the earth? So if it was one or two tribes, I could say, well, that's myth, or legend. Okay. But when you have it in the Americas, you have it in Africa, you have it in Asia, in Europe, all of these cultures are not talking to each other and going, hey, let's play a big joke on the world and let's all get together and, talk about, stuff that happened that nobody can prove. So to me, there has to be cultures that were here before the moon. And I feel like the moon, its role was it was brought in as kind of not only because it offsets the sun and it can eclipse it and create these magnificent atmospheric experiences, but yes, it controls the tides, but it maintains a perfect orbit, which I think is highly irregular for a natural object that's just moving in space to be constant in its orbit and always showing one side, because we look at other celestial objects and they're rotating, so we may not see the same image every day. And that's the other thing too, is when you look in the sky now during the day, some days the moon is visible, some days it's not, and the next day it could be visible. So if it's a stationary object that's always there, how is it not visible every day? And so it's little nuances like that that make me start to question, is this really a natural object? And the Zulus even talk about their brothers from space bringing the moon to help settle the earth and its environment. And so there you go. There's an example of ancient aliens, helping the planet. Is it true? Who's to say? But I believe they've even geologically found there are minerals and elements on the moon that are not found on the earth. So therefore, scientifically, it couldn't be from the moon, because I don't think all those elements would be in that one chunk that broke off and just happened to form and be perfect there. So there's a lot of elements around our moon that I think is what gives way to people studying it and coming up with all these different theories and different legends, because yeah, it's an object that is so unique in space. We can't help but do that because we can't explain why it's acting differently than every other celestial object out there. So I'll yield the rest of my time for the rest of the people to talk.
Thank you very much, Michael. A very welcome addition to our group, and I look forward to your future participation. Thank you for tonight's.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Soo McClure. Welcome, Soo, to our assemblage and to our ongoing conversation.
Well, about the moon, one of the things that I actually love about it is that it also helps balance the planet in a lot of ways. Not only they talk about how it does with the tides, but then I question, what about the other bodies of waters like lakes and things like that? What does it do there? We have seen ships go to and from the moon when we go outside and just study the night sky. So we know there's activities going on. But I like to look back on the culture. Like, for example, in Japan, they talk about how the shadows in the moon look like, for example, rabbit making rice on a stove. They talk about how the moon helps regulate your body and your system in the terms of medicine. So, for example, there are certain medicines that you take during the full moon. So it does have positive aspects, like, for example, the types of things that you would take to get rid of parasites. Parasites respond to the moon, they will lay their eggs during a full moon. So it's actually good to take anti-parasitical type medicines like black walnut hull and other things that would help get rid of parasites. Um, a lot of times when people in the olden days, they would be instructed to start the medical routine during the full moon. That's when you would start. Now, nowadays, we just start whenever we are given a prescription. But back in the day, they would actually time your medicine with what time of the month. And it's the same thing for even women when they talk about the cycle of the moon sometimes can coincide with the women's period. It can coincide with when children are born. It can coincide with when it's time to mate. So the moon has a lot of also medicinal power aspect to it as well. Um, it also has meditation power. When the moon is actually full, it's actually good to meditate and be able to calm your system. And that's when we have all these so-called lunatics out there, that's because it creates a certain disturbance. And it's good to be mindful that when you start getting disturbing thoughts at that time of the month, it helps to be able to dial back and use it for meditation rather than act on impulse. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that memo, but the moon has been there to also guide us, whether we're on travel on the road. It's been there to guide us through how to raise our family or how to even run a city and town and government system as well in the ancient times.
Thank you so very much. That was very thoughtful and very wide reaching, and it added a dimension to our conversation today.
Thank you.
Does anybody, before we wrap up, have any questions they'd like to ask anybody else? And we'll go down the list again. Tim, is there anything you'd like to ask anybody?
Well, I just want to say this is a comment on what Paul was saying earlier about how the full moon seemed to bring out a certain caliber of people. When I worked in television news and in a number of different markets, we always dreaded the week of the full moon because you would always see an uptick, as Paul said, of domestic violence, car accidents, shootings. It's just it would keep you jumping at night with just all the different things. And in fact, one station that I worked at, they would actually have extra people, especially at night, out and about, camera crews and things like that, because there would always be more activity during that time. An entire month could go by where not much was going on, but the week of the full moon, guaranteed there'd be all kinds of different things going on. And I have a friend who is a nurse at the local hospital, the night shift nurse, and she says the week of the full moon, guaranteed there'll be a lot more activity, more people dying, more people getting sick and hurt and coming in than any other time during the month.
Thank you, and I'm surprised to know we were werewolves, but that's another show.
Yeah.
That's a different show.
That's okay.
I have a question for Soo.
Okay.
Soo, very interesting. Where can I learn more about the kinds of medicines I should take during the full moon, or anyone should take?
I actually learned it from over the years different websites, and I can send you some. But I learned about how medicines coincide with your health with the moon, especially when people use crystals to help with the healing. They would charge the crystals with the moon, and then they would use it to heal themselves also. When the next full moon came around, you could heal yourself with it by being outside with it and put it where it where it ails you. But back in the old days, that's what they would start with. And I learned that just through different people that were in holistic medicine.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alan,
Hey,
anything to ask
sorry.
or add to the conversation?
I think this has been absolutely fascinating because it's the diversity of opinion has a commonality to it, which is, as Robert Heinlein put it, the moon is a harsh mistress, which is to say that Luna, the moon, Selene, different terms in different cultures, has a profound influence on human beings and human civilization. And I think that is extraordinarily important to realize that each one of us, each in our own way, has been demonstrating that that profound influence is there. I mean, you can point out, like in Norse mythology, please understand when I use the term, it's in the Joseph Campbell sense, not in the sense of something dismissive or mythology is kind of what we live and die by, and perhaps beyond that as well. But in Norse mythology, at the end of time, the Fenris wolf will devour the moon.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting take on things. In pre-Islamic Arabian culture, the moon god, male, was the god Sin. And a relic of that, I suppose, is the crescent moon that you see on the top of every minaret in the Islamic world. So it is a profound influence, and I'm glad that we all have something to say about it. I will make one other point, if I may.
Sure.
I noticed, considering that we're on Hercules nickel, as it were, that we really haven't talked at all about the Greco-Roman gods and their relationship to the moon. But it isn't as emphasized as other aspects. Like there's more about Mars, Ares, than there is about the much closer object, Luna. So maybe Hercules can at some point give us a kind of thumbnail sketch of the lore inside Greco-Roman mythology.
I'd be honored to. Thank you.
Hey,
And Ammon, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. Alan, you talked about the diversity of opinions and approaches. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get into it because I wanted to keep my time a little shorter, but Helena Blavatsky in her Secret Doctrine talks a lot about the moon and its origin and its influence and its role in the Earth's development. And she believes that the moon was the mother of the Earth, that the moon came first, as a matter of fact. And what happened was there's a chain of evolution that happens, according to Theosophy, a chain of evolution that happens on every sphere. And eventually the entities, the human evolutionary entities that are evolving on that particular sphere, when they reach their zenith of development, they move on to a higher level. And Blavatsky says that the souls on the moon that made it through all of their rounds, all of their evolutionary rounds, they went on to the Earth sphere or the Earth level, and that the moon is like the dead body of that once alive entity that housed all of that evolution. And she says that the energies that were left over, the gosh, what would you call it? The energies from that evolutionary scheme actually went into making the core of the Earth, the new sphere for the new evolution. So I just wanted to put that one in there too. Very interesting.
And thank you for doing that. You read my mind. I was going to.
Oh, did I steal your thunder?
Okay. I come from a line of thunder gods, so I'm not concerned about people stealing my thunder. There's plenty of thunder to go around. Blavatsky talked about the Prados, and the moon is part of our life after death cycle. I was going to tie anthology that several of us contributed to with the persistent ghost. I did that a little early. Thank you very much. Sue, do you have anything to ask anybody?
Yeah, actually, if you want to look up about moon and medicines, you can look up Japanese medicines and moon. You can look up Chinese and Indian. And I'm talking about both Indians, India and the Native American Indians. They have both written all kinds of papers and medical papers about it as well.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to ask anybody? Anything you'd like to add to today's conversation?
I'm sorry?
Setna?
What?
Okay.
You're
You're on
muted.
mute. You're on mute.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Oh.
don't want to be muted. I'm fine with everything. I am also interested in lunar medicine. So I'll talk to Sue about that at another point. And I know that there are many, many other theories about things. Hercules mentioned or didn't mention his lunar goddesses like Selene, Sybil, Selene, Diana, et cetera, et cetera. So those are important, to me. I've always, when I was initiated years ago in the first group I belonged to, one of the mother goddesses was Selene. And we had a full moon ritual every month. And I know in the Egyptian temples, it was the same thing. There was always one lunar worship. It took 3 days. Some of the lunar cycles are 3 days. Everybody mentioned about lunatics. Well, we know that the menstrual cycle is affected by the moon. The ocean is, the rivers are. So why wouldn't the other humors in our bodies or other fluid, like in the spinal cerebral fluid, for instance, why wouldn't that be affected? And that's a question I'm interested in. Is that what causes people to be a little lunatic?
Probably.
That's what I'm thinking. That maybe that triggers some off-putting wacko energy that we go off the wall there because the blood and the spinal cerebral fluid and what have you is pulled in a different direction from where it should be. And so we're, like when a computer goes haywire, and it does happen, perhaps that's why people do.
Hence the werewolves.
Yep. And they will be on a separate show.
Or the werepigs of London.
Michael K., you want to add or ask? Michael Kopf?
Yes, I'd just like to add there's one facet of the moon we've kind of skipped over, and I was going to bring it up, but I wanted to make sure everyone had time. Was in BC, our calendar system was a lunar calendar with 13 months.
Yes.
Then Julian came in, and now we're on Gregorian. And the funny thing about the Gregorian calendar is, like, August is the 8th month. They used to be in alphabetical order and got all construed when they redid the calendar. So not only were we originally a lunar calendar system, but we also have strawberry moons. We have harvest moons. And so the moon is very definitely a prominent figure in our everyday lives and in the lives of farmers, especially. They do virtually everything off of the moon cycle. They're planting, they're harvesting, when to till what ground. It's all run by the moon cycle, and even metaphysics, when you have a strawberry moon or the blue moon or, different types of moons, you do different rituals to bring in different wishes. So the moon is, whether it's natural to us or not, plays a much bigger role than I think people ever realized.
There will be a moon part 2 coming.
They're all going to moon you. That's fine.
Oh, is there anything you'd like to add or ask?
Oh, absolutely. Back in the time when I was a paranormal investigator, I used to interview people that had paranormal experiences. And I was actually contacted 2 different times, one time by 2 women who claimed that they were werewolves, and another time of a woman who claimed she was a werewolf. And the story is crazy. I not only have I interviewed werewolves, but I've interviewed people who think they're vampires. I've been to San Francisco and went into the vampire community and interviewed vampires. But you're going to like the werewolf story. I met these 2 young ladies over at in Vacaville at Starbucks. And they claim that they are actually werewolves. They have a craving for raw meat. They can't keep a boyfriend. And the reason why they can't keep a boyfriend is because they have long fingernails. And when they're intimate with their boyfriends, they cut them up with their fingernails and drink their blood.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Wear gloves. Oh my God. Yeah.
Good grief.
Do you have their address?
I knew
Only
Alan.
Alan.
I knew
Yeah.
Alan. I knew Alan would go for that.
You got my
You know
curiosity,
me
Paul.
too well.
Vampires as well, and most of my texts were done by vampires in New York. So
Oh yeah. There's a vampire community in San Francisco.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and anyway, it's like back in Vacaville when I was interviewing these 2 werewolves, the women, they actually said that during the full moon that they have a friend who will actually lock them up and they'll spend the whole night watching movies and stuff like that. They don't want to go out because they think they're going to actually hurt somebody.
Did they get hairy?
That's the other one. I'm going to get to that one.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. But no, these 2 women actually look normal. And their story is actually in one of my books. In fact, I got the late Brad Steiger to talk to one of the women for one of his books. Now, there was the other one that was over in Vallejo. And this is kind of funny. But anyway, she says, okay, I'll be at this Starbucks. I always met them at Starbucks. So I said, okay. And that night, Starbucks was crowded. And I went right up to her and I said, you're so-and-so. And she goes, how did you know? Are you like a psychic or something? I said, no, I'm just lucky. The reason why I knew it was her, that she was the werewolf, and I swear on this, she had hair all on her arms. She had hair on her legs. She had a T-shirt says, where is the beef? And
Oh, no.
she had this headband thing that had 2 wolf ears. And I said, yeah, I was just lucky, all these people. I go,
Duh.
Oh,
no.
I just kind of knew.
We have in Savannah here, we have a very large vampire cult. vampire community,
Oh,
and it's pretty spooky. They even have a club in one of the older houses, and it's all vampires. And at the full moon, they go bananas.
Setna. I'll wrap up the show. We'll talk about vampires and werewolves on another show. I
Okay.
promise.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, people get in contact with you.
Not
Oh.
to plug my
how
current
can people
book,
reach me?
but there is a section on werewolves in, what is it called? UFOs and the occult. So read it and howl at the moon.
Oh yeah.
While you're howling at the moon, you might as well contact people contact you.
Oh, okay. If you want to read some of my crazy stories and everything else, several magazines publish them. Paranormal Underground magazine, Phenomena magazine, Ghost Buzz magazine, Outer Limits magazine, and UnX magazine. So you'll find all kinds of stories here. And I still do some interviews here and there.
And you have your own shows, and you're on a lot of other shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, we got a show together on Friday, the 22nd. We're interviewing author Richard Estep.
Very cool. Thank you so very much. Tim, how can people contact you?
Sure. Well, probably the best place is I've got a website now. It's timrswartz.com. And we've got a new book out. It's called The Persistence of Ghosts. And Paul is holding up a copy of it right now. Both myself, Paul, Hercules, Michael, all have chapters in this book. And you can find it right now on Amazon.com as both a print ebook and an audio book as well. Right now, it's priced just right. I'm going to have to raise the price soon in order to allow it to now be carried in your favorite local bookstores. So if you want to get it at a good price, get it now. Get her now.
Yeah, contact you. Setna, how can people contact you?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. It's very easy. I'm all over the place. I do reels just about every day on Facebook. I'm on at a million different Zoom casts. You can get me at Michael K at Today's Witch magazine, which is Michael K at today'switch.net. You can see my articles. I'm also in two of Tim's books, The Persistence of Ghosts, as well as Weird Times, which are really a lot of fun. Thank you, Tim, for that. I'm always on your podcast somewhere, Hercules. You can reach me at Michael K. Waterman on Facebook, or if you want to do email, mkwaterman at icloud.com. Or you can call me and also find me in Phone a Wizard. All of my information is available to you on Facebook. It makes life a lot easier.
Thank you very much, sir. Allen, how can people enter your world and read your books and tap into all the wonderful things you've discovered and so generously shared with us?
Well, let's see. The new book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And of course, everywhere fine books are sold. And all of my other books in print, you can get them in a lot of different places, but Amazon is the easiest, and I would encourage you to shop there. I'm on Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, and let's see, Tumblr, someplace that I can't remember the name of. It's new, but it's from Meta, so you know it's significant. So I'm basically in your bedroom, lurking in the corner.
Hi.
We'll contact you.
Who are you speaking to?
Apulia, Carole.
Oh, me. Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm friended to a number of you already. I'm still working in the mundane world. I work in the legal world. So my writings are basically about the legal things, which you're not interested in. And I did do an article for the Village Voice years ago on New York occultists and witches. And I have a number of witches that I'm friended with in the UK. So if you join me, you can probably friend them too and find out more about them. Carole Linda Gonzalez, Facebook.
How can people contact you and get your book?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Hercules. Hey, it's been a real pleasure, guys. A real honor to be on this panel and a real pleasure. It's always really fun, guys. I really, really enjoy it. Thank you so much, Hercules and everybody. The book, Ammon is now a published author, and the book is called The League of Azure Blue Angels. It's in Kindle form, paperback, and hardcover on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and a couple other sites. If you'd like to contact me, I have an email address called League of Azure Blue Angels at gmail.com, League of Azure Blue Angels at gmail.com. And within the next 2 or 3 months, I'm going to be publishing a small book called A Letter to the Youth of the World. So that should be out there in 2 or 3 months, kind of on the same sites and everything. But anyway, thank you guys. And Setna, I love your hat. It's fabulous. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. And Setna, I love you have to. And Michael Kopf, how can people get in touch with you and tap into your world?
Well, my books are available right now at Amazon, and you can find them through my author page, Michael Kopf, and I'm on Facebook, I'm on X, LinkedIn, I'm on, wow, where am I? Pretty much everywhere. And it's pretty easy to get a hold of me, and yeah, I'm like, I'm still thinking the lunar stuff, and so it's like my mind is like, yeah, let's go there. So that's the best ways to reach me. Besides being on your shows, and thank you for having me on again.
Well, thank you for coming on. You always contribute unique perspectives and hard to come by information. So thank you very much. And Soo, how can people find you and get in contact with you and experience your world?
Well, I am on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. I'm a meditation specialist, so I'm also on Facebook and I'm on Messenger. You can contact me on Messenger. And you can email me at Soo Lightworker, SOO, Lightworker, LIGHTWORKER, at gmail.com. I'm also on LinkedIn and Substack. I also have some of my meditation tips there. And let's see, I also do a little bit of remote viewing and a little bit of kind of empathic psychic work.
Thank you very much, and I look forward
for letting me be here
in future conversations. I have a few quick announcements and questions, and then we'll sign up for tonight. Is anybody here, aside from Setna and Allen, familiar with theurgy? Theurgy means God work in ancient Greek, and it arose from the Greco-Roman Egyptian world. Anybody? Okay. We're starting a new bunch of conversations. I recently was published in Welland with 6 other theurgists. And we have a book that's kind of like an introduction to theurgy. And theurgy is basically connecting with the divine and then channeling the divine into this world. And it's an ancient practice, and everybody does it differently, so we want to make a point of that. There's no one right way to do it. So we have 7 different people who do it differently, write chapters and showing what it is and how it's utilized. And I'll be doing a lot of things with the paranormal that we've done before for shorter periods. So I'll be talking to all of you to see what you're interested in. And if you're interested, you're more than welcome. If you want to be a regular, that's fine. If you want to be an occasional guest, that's fine. We'll work with you and start getting more information out. As you all know, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and I joined the Parkinson's disease Avengers because Marvel's Avengers had Hercules, and Olympian doesn't have Hercules too. And I joined an organization whose title I liked, was called Kopf Parkinson's. So I said, fuck Parkinson's to the universe, and I'm going to do more podcasting. Podcasting is something I can do. I mean, writing more because writing is something I can do. And thank you all for being part of my journey. And I'm honored and grateful that you're all here sharing your wisdom and information. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon.
Good night.
You too.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good
Bye.
God
night.
bless you.
Yielding blessing.